Hey, my creative friends. I'm Shannon from shannonstudio.com, and I am here to talk about creativity and talk about how we can have a creative life, how we can make it not just a theory about a creative life, but that we can actually practice it like in everyday life. So I have done a few videos to talk about how we can fit that in. So I'm a little early tonight. I actually stayed up all night last night. Well, yesterday afternoon I got about an hour's sleep. I stayed up all night, slept an hour this morning, 5:30 to 6:30. Then got up and took Joseph, and then went and had this wonderful afternoon or morning into the afternoon meeting with a new friend of mine, Brigitta, and learning about her and her life and just things, and she's just a great gal. So it was a fun afternoon. So, but I left some things undone, and tonight is family home evening. It's where our family spends time together and doing things, and so we've got that to do tonight, and I promised hot chocolate, so there's just a lot to do tonight, and so I am a little bit earlier than what I might otherwise be. But hey, Rose, good seeing you. I've been watching you do your stuff, and yeah, you've been really busy. So, let's see. The reason I stayed up all night was because my time zone's different than in the United States. Hey, Trisha. Good to see you today. So I stayed up all night because the time zone is different here than in the States. So if somebody has a webinar or a class or anything in the States, it's usually in the middle of the night for me, which doesn't really bother me. I don't mind staying up late, but that's why I was up late. So one thing led to another, and I have taken several online courses. And so I've learned a few things, because some of them have been super good and some of them have not been as good. And so there's just things to look out for. And this is really it's not new, but it's a new medium for a lot of us to actually venture into. Online courses have been around for quite a while, but not a lot of us have, ventured in there. And especially if the classes cost a little bit more money. So I wanted to give you some tips since that was on my mind, and since I stayed up last night and listened to what was offered in this one class. But let me read this quote. This is a quote from Chase Jarvis. He has written the book Creative Calling, and he is the person who started the Creative Live courses and that whole website that is the online teaching. And he loves books. If I recall correctly, or reading previously on previous days, he's loved books and learned a lot from books. But this is what he says. He says, a book can't give you the experience of how to direct a photo shoot. So, quote, now tell the model to lift the left hand 3 inches, unquote. But you can learn this in 1 minute by watching a professional photographer do it. There is no substitute for watching mastery in action. And this is the key, he says. This is the new college. And really, with the way college has been for a lot of people and the debt they come out with, which, going in what you're going to have debt. And so I think people's mind shift has changed. When I was younger, you didn't go to college if you didn't have a way to pay for it. It's a different thought process that has gone on in recent years as far as college degrees go. And so there has been a shift, and with the arrival of the internet and the explosion of online courses, how we get our education is shifting. How we get access to knowledge is a lot of different forms that didn't even exist before. And that is terrific. It is so great. But there are 5 tips I'm going to share tonight when you're looking for that creative course or that business course or that online, whatever online teaching that help you in choosing which is. And the thing is that the internet, pretty much anybody can get on it and do it. So you have to do your due diligence. You have to do a little research, do your homework, all those little idioms that we say in order to make sure you're getting what you're hoping for. So the 5 tips. The first tip is get a course that specializes in your current need, so that when you're done with the course, you end up with what you want. And try to stay away from these big generalized courses and go for a niche course that will meet that need. Sometimes we think, oh, I need to know all the things, so I go to a class that has all the things, and some of it's not relevant to what we need at the moment. So get what you need at the moment to fulfill the needs. And then, so if you're doing a guitar class online, you don't need to take the whole guitar course at one time. You take the beginner guitar course if you're a beginner. If you are later on in a guitar course, don't mess with the beginner, go to the specific one. And if there's specific fingering or specific style of guitar, a specific genre within the genre, get what you need. So that's the first tip. Get what you need and specialized into what will meet the requirements you have. So the second thing is to get testimonials, which I shouldn't say get testimonials, but read the testimonials they have online. And not just read them. Read them is good, but you follow the link of the person who gave the testimonial. So, person A gave a testimonial. I go to where person A's website is to see if they really got what the course offered. It's easy to put out a testimonial, but you should be able to see the result in what testimonial a person said in their website, in their online presence. If it's that kind of a course, usually if they're using them for a testimonial, there's a way to see if that person really fulfilled the course. And that is pretty easy to do because most courses are really kind of upfront about who is giving the testimonial. And so you can follow and see if, and if for some reason they're not around, is it because the person isn't around because what they did, or is it because the course didn't deliver? And you can see patterns. If like everybody on the testimonial is no longer around, that's a big flashing red warning sign. So look at the testimonials, but not just look, follow the testimonial lead and see where they're at and what they have going. And with that, make sure you have access to, first make sure you have access. Some courses are just like, bam, you're done, and there's no support, no backup, no team, no content maker that you can contact, nothing. It's just the course and there you are, and you have no help. Other courses you have help, but it's not who made the content. So you can get help, and maybe it's good help, maybe it's not, but it's always the best. It's almost like this good, better, and best. Good maybe where you get the course, but you're left to yourself. The second might be you get somebody to help you, but it's not who made the course, so who really understands the material. The best thing to be able to have is access to the person who made the course. If you're signing up for a course, see if they have some way that you can, that they can be accessible to you, whether it's a Q&A, whether it's a contact through an email, whether it's contact through support and then you can get through them. Look at how you might be able to get access if you have a question, because you probably are going to have a question going into this. So see what kind of access you can get to the content creator. Then number 4 is to make sure that there's not too many people in a class. I signed up for one class and there were a bajillion people. Bajillion, you know. There were a lot of people. There were so many people that the Facebook page got chaotic. Everything was chaotic. The emails were just, it was just this huge, unwielding thing. It was just out of control. That's the way I felt. Now, other people seem to be happy with that, but it almost reminded me of, when you're in a real class, they have a limit to the people who can be there because you can only serve so many people at one time. Now, the internet really opens that up quite a bit, and there's different checks and feeds and like funnels and different things that can feed content out to you. And so that, you can have more than a standard classroom, but you have to realize that if you are, there's a Facebook page that goes with the group. If you have 10,000 people on that page, you're likely going to get lost with the information. I don't know how some of these people do it, but having it not be too crowded is really a good thing. If they have limits, if they have a limited people who can sign up, and the structure of the class to kind of know, I want to have access. That's too many people to have access. So that's something to look at, to see what size, and if they have limits, if they don't have limits, what is the popularity of this person? Are they going to have a bajillion people? Is that really where I want to go, or do I want to maybe go to a smaller group that's not as popular, but I can have better access and get my questions answered? So that is another thing to think about. And then the 5th thing I think to think about is to see if they're a good fit. Read through some of their previous material, the free things that they have on their website or blog posts or interviews. If they're likely to have some interviews somewhere, listen to their interview. Listen to see if you like the way they talk, their style. Some people are very organized and very, run a tight ship, and others are kind of like free-spirited and they're just kind of loose. And other people are very religious, and so they have a lot of religion and context into what they're teaching. So there's just a lot. So you want to be able to look and get a feel for what they have to offer, if it's going to be a good fit for you, if it's going to be a personality that you want to learn from. Sometimes, there's been a couple times that I signed up for something and I go, what was I thinking? What was I mean, obviously this person's not a good fit. It's not that they're a bad person or bad content. Their style and manner is just not my style and manner that I like to learn by. And so, and I didn't even think about that before. So I thought, with Chase Jarvis saying this is the new college, he's right. And the amount of information that's out there, and really good information and good classes. There's so much out there for us to be able to learn whatever we want to learn. And so having a few tips to kind of help us navigate that, I thought that would be good for us little creative souls. And so that's the tip tonight, to kind of do your due diligence, your research before you sign up for classes, but to be open to the new college and prepare yourself with a few tips to be able to enter that new college and have it be successful for you. And like I said, I signed up for a new class. I'm super excited about it. I probably will talk a little bit about it as we go along. And yes, that is what we have for tonight. So how is everybody doing creatively? Rose, Tricia, how are you guys doing creatively? How do you feel? One of the assignments from my class, and I'm going to share it, is to ask people who I interact with, engage with, what are my strengths? What do I do really well? And if you could have me teach you anything, what would it be? So those are 2 things that you can answer in the comments. And so where we are done for tonight, but remember you have a creative heartbeat, so listen for it. And I will be back tomorrow. We'll see you. Bye.